the word study has a very negative connotation. And
Yeah.
what essentially Ishika and Urvashi, they're trying to say is that study and hold on to your academics with the sheer love of learning, I would say.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think the world's now, it's changing like what? It's too new for itself. And the only reason and the only way we can continually exist and grow and evolve is by learning.
Yeah.
And learning essentially could be a derivative of studying and focusing on academics. And the final piece of advice on which I'd like to close this episode of Podcast for School Kids is that um, 3 years of due, they might end, but learning and education doesn't. It goes on for life.
As someone who has been on both sides, the receiving end of the toxic society culture, and then maybe giving end of the toxic society culture, first thing that I would like to point out is there is something that we can do as privileged people, like especially the kind of people that come from our background. Maybe this is something that is just my opinion, but
I'll
I have.
just, sorry to cut you, I'll just define our background in the sense that we all come from a private institution, private school, and we're all middle class, largely upper middle class. Does that work? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Somewhere between middle class and large upper middle class.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Mani.
Yes. So uh, this is something that I have observed in mostly all college societies and college opportunities, that mostly the people who hold the positions of responsibility or the major opportunities or the growth opportunities are people who come from a background that I come from. And we should not forget that Delhi University has a huge reservation system that I am totally there for. It should be there. However, I feel that once a lot of people get into college, the college acts like a value multiplier rather than adding some real value to people. And we cannot be expecting people who are coming from so many different parts of the country and so varying social and economic backgrounds to have that kind of thing in their school. My school was amazing. It had so many opportunities, and I sometimes feel that I have not utilized all the opportunities in the manner that I should have. And when I came to college, the first thing that I did was compete with people who came from nothing, and then I was selected and they were not selected. And uh, in 3 years they not I mean, yes, they grew in some capacity, but they were not able to realize their full potential. So as people who are working on the other end of the society, I
Right.
think that we should be taking a responsibility to make these societies more comfortable, more welcoming, and more encouraging. I know it is a lot of work, and I know first year students come with a dumb expectation, but just bear them for 1 month and then start your elimination process. And this is something that I have implemented in two societies that I am the president of this year, that just teach them something for 1 month and then start with the elimination round. And trust me, you will be creating a team that is so dynamic, so passionate about things, and it will be broadening your view, because I do not want to be the same person that I was 3 years ago. I came
Right.
from a privileged background and then I'm leaving with a group of friends who also came from a privileged background. That does not make a lot of sense to me. Then why did I go to college for? And also in terms
Right.
of opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities, and not just the college and the society thing, but I also think there are a lot of opportunities wherein you explore yourself.
Yeah.
I have so many people who started coming out as members of LGBTQ community because the DU environment was just so welcoming. And there was and I was really surprised, because in school there was a silent murmur that went on in the class when somebody said the G
Yeah.
word, the gay word. But in due, the reaction for most people was, okay, I'm gay, and the person was like, yeah, peace out. I have an assignment to make. Okay, you do you. Woo. So
Wow,
there,
lovely.
it is a lovely environment. You'll grow, you learn a lot. But if you are privileged, just realize your privilege and make sure that you create an enriching and developing environment for everybody, not just you.
Right. And if you're not as privileged, then don't be scared. Don't be
Yeah.
intimidated. I
Yeah,
mean,
ask for help. Ask for
Ask for
help. There are
help.
a lot of people
Exactly.
who will be
Exactly. Like you
very
said,
happy to help you.
like yeah,
right, absolutely.
just like I wasn't knowing about the work that Manya is doing, but there are a lot, but like just like she said that she had been on the receiving end, and now she made sure that she teach something to the students before
Before
actually
eliminating.
evaluating them. I think do reach out to your seniors for your help because they have been in your position and they know.
Right, right, right.
Because one thing I would like to say is that when I have been very less involved in societies per se. I was more involved in my department activities. I was more focused on the things that happened in the department. Somehow I like I said, find opportunities for yourself and see where you fit in. So I found that I fit in more in my department because I
Okay, I probably sound like a dumb person, but what's the difference between society activities and department activities? Please enlighten me.
yeah.
Any one
So
of you.
society, it's a very basic difference. Society is where society is like it's devoted to a particular, first of all, a skill. For example, debating society, dancing society,
Right.
drama society, where people from different departments like English, um,
Yeah.
political science, economics.
Intersectional. Right.
So that's a different thing. Departmental activities. So there are two kinds of things that events that you'll find happening in colleges. One is the society-led events, which the societies organize. The other is the department events, which the department
Hmm.
organizes. So a lot of times when you're seeing the poster of any event, you'll say if it's like that, like the English Debating Society organizes this debate, this memorial debate 2018-20. So that is what English Society is doing. And the other thing is Department of Political Science, Hindu College organizes Hindu RF Policy Conclave this. So that is what the department. Now
Got
the
it.
essential difference between the two is in a society the members are working. So there's a group of like 50, 100 students who are a member depending on the capacity of the society who work for that event. But in the department, you cannot say no to any person who wishes to work for the department activity because department is for of the all the students of first, second, third year. They
It's course
department consists of
specific.
all. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Okay.
and the membership is given.
yeah.
Right.
So I found that I was at
Got
the
it.
end of the day, I was working more for my department. And there I when we did this Hindu RF policy conclave, which started with my time when I was in first year, I learned a lot from my seniors. A lot, a lot. I'll
Right,
tell
right.
you a lot of things. And the next year, when I was in my second year and I had a fresh batch of students, I saw that there were people who didn't come from schools where they had so many extracurricular opportunities, but they
Like
were
Manya said.
like
Right.
Manya said, but they were willing to learn. They had that thing for learn. They wanted to learn and they wanted to participate. And there were some students who wanted to learn
Right.
but were hesitant to come forward and tell that I don't know this, but I want to participate in this.
Right. Right.
So believe me, your seniors will be most of your seniors will
Exactly.
be so sensitive to actually identify if you're willing to work or not and then teach you.
Right. So I think let's just put all of what we've talked to the side, and let's add little spice to this conversation, and let's talk about socializing. Because okay, so personal experience, 14 years I've been able to socialize in school. I've made friends, and now suddenly it's like this daunting feeling, I'll have to reintroduce myself to a lot of people, and then oh god, how to make friends, I don't know. But other than that, socializing, friendships, because this is something that most people, they remove this from the definition of success. Whereas I feel that these factors kind of also sediment into how successful you are eventually in life. So friendships, relationships, other, because somebody told me that, building relationships is very important, and you guys have also been talking about talk to your seniors. So throughout DU, how did you manage this whirlwind of, say, having a social life, and how was it for you guys? I mean, and this is a safe space, hopefully, and although it will go up on YouTube, but still. So, share what you can and what you've learned through these 3 years about kind of socializing, meeting new people, and then managing friendships and relationships?
Who's going first?
Ishika, you go.
I go. We're doing the alphabetic thing only.
I'm acting like a CJ here. Ishika, you go.
Okay, boss. So, I think friendships are very important. I think they define the Delhi University experience is essentially friendships. Okay, everything else is coming secondary. Like societies, why people are emotionally invested in societies is because you generally. It can also be toxic, so just let's leave that aside for a second. But generally speaking, people love their societies because they love the people in those societies, right? It's close bonds with those people. It becomes a family for you and all of those things. So I think people are definitely important, and these people are generally people who will stick to you for life because at this stage, as compared to like the school stage, you're much more mature. You expect a lot, right? So, for example, when I was in school, I had a very limited worldview. My worldview was literally this conversation, right? All of us think very similarly because we're from the same background.
Right.
If you go to college, everyone thinks so differently. So your worldview really expands, and at that point, because you're into a much more mature place, the friends that you make are also going to be friends that are more in line with the kind of person that you are. Try to make a diverse set of friends because, as both Rishidi and Manya pointed out, you meet a diverse set of people. So make those friends and also try to understand their lives, because I feel like, so for example, in my first year, I didn't do that consciously, but I somehow ended up with a group of friends, which was every one of them was a person from Delhi, upper middle class, similar schools, and I just ended up with that friend group. And in my second year, all of us were talking, and we had this epiphany, and we were like, wait, why don't we have friends from anywhere else? Why are we all from Delhi? Effort makes from different people. You will see, in at least in the first year, I don't know about your batch because you're doing it virtually, you will see those clans forming, and there's so, kind of based on geography. So try to break those clans, make friends from everywhere, and don't make relationships, because I've seen a lot of networking posts on LinkedIn. Don't make friends for the advantages that you can get out of them. Don't make friends thinking that this person's going to be so successful in life, I want to sort of capitalize on that. Don't make friends for that. Make friends for growth and for learning is fine, but just make friends for other purposes. And
I just negated my entire theory of making friends. We people are friends just because I know you people are gonna earn a lot of money and then support you.
Okay.
and,
Well,
and date a lot of people. Don't date one person. Date a lot of people. Okay.
Okay. Right. Nice. Manya, you would like to go ahead?
I would be addressing this from the perspective of a girls' college wala thing, because alright, let's break this down. Okay, I understand then that when you enter puberty, there is this thing that you hear a lot, that I am better friends with boys and girls are so much drama. And
Notions.
oh my god, I want to be friends with only boys because girls are, oh my god, so much drama.
Stereotypes.
And as somebody who has had a female best friend for past 7 years, I think that
AKA Ishika.
I think that needs to go away. Because why I cheer for a girls college so much is because I've realized that there were Ishika and I were talking about it the other day, that there were a lot of girls in my school who had a lot of potential, but as soon as they started getting a lot of male attention, they just sort of stopped studying for some reason. And I'm not judging it that, oh my god, you stopped studying, but it happened for a reason, because society was attaching a lot of male attention to their personal self-worth, and they just figured out that, oh my, now that I am receiving this kind of attention, I am fine.
Right.
And that is something I realized does not happen in a girls' college.
I was sorry to cut you, but when I was planning this entire thing, I was just so saddened by the fact that there's no guy. I mean, I wanted to make this diverse, and I talked to actually a couple of guys in SRCC, and they all had exams apparently. So I was just
Manya also does.
you're cool, Ishika.
I think the kind of for me, one thing I've realized is again from being in a co-ed college again. The thing is that feminism is more about equality. So it's not if you hold, again you can edit this. This is, I'm saying on a very informal note. Please edit this. Just saying that if you holding assumptions and presumptions about a particular gender is as wrong as holding assumptions and presumptions about the female gender. I
Right.
feel that way because again, when you're in a co-ed college and that you see that actually in I had one of my friends. He was the department president, and we had to write a biography sort of a thing. What would you like to tell your juniors when you're graduating from the college? And he said, when I came to college, I knew nothing about what casual sexism is, and I was actually doing it without realizing that I am actually indulging into some stereotypical actions and behavior. I was doing it, but when I came here, I started talking to people. Then I realized where I was going wrong. And at the end of and I felt it was very courageous and audacious of him to write this and speak this in front of, we had a batch of 100 people, that I'm really sorry I did that. Because when I'm leaving college, I now realize that I had been so wrong and I had been indulging in so many casually sexist comments about the way girls behave, or the way women think, the way, even something like
Right.
what forwarding those jokes about wives on WhatsApps and laughing at it, that you don't realize it. And if you'll tell somebody, will be like, okay, you are becoming feminazi. But that's not the thing. That is actually that small things, when they coalesce, they become
Right.
something big. So I think co-ed colleges again are a place where I think people get to know a lot of stuff and they mend their ways.
And how has the entire building friendships
Yeah,
and
social life. I
relationships
just
been for you?
forgot the question. I was so enjoying listening to Ishika and Manya that I just forgot the question. Okay, so socializing, I'm the wrong person to talk to about socializing. Because I'm very bad at socializing, believe me. So I was back in college in my first year. I used to attend the classes and rush back home. Literally rush back home, because as soon as the class got ended, I didn't even go to the canteen where people were crazy tasting the famous dishes from the canteen. And I was like, I just went out of the college to the metro station, and before people could realize where is Urvashi, I was at my home. So I was generally advised by one of my friends. She became a very nice friend, and so she said that she was a hosteler. So she said that Urvashi, tu bhag kahan jati hai college ke baad? Just stay back in college, make friends. We were talking the other day, and people said Urvashi seems to be a nice girl, but she runs back after college. Like, you are a hosteler, you have to live here only. I have to go to my home, and I can't. I was so afraid of that distance thing. But see, again, I am again saying, don't try to fit into a particular narrative that you should be socializing in a particular way, that you should stay back at college, go with friends to cafes, to iconic places, spend time, don't leave college before 6 p.m. That's, if you're not if you like it, go ahead, it's the best thing. But if you're not somebody comfortable with it, don't be forced to do that. Don't think that if you don't do it, you will not make friends. Because I was told that initially, that she told me on a very generous note. It was not wrong on her part to do that. She was really scared for me, like, Urvashi, if you don't stay back, how will you make friends? You can't just have me as your friend. So I am like, okay, I'll figure it out how to do. And I actually started making friends in my department activity. I started talking to seniors in my department activity. And I'll tell you, one of my seniors, I had been given the job of editing his something. He had written something and I had to put it in a PPT form and in a catalog form or something.
Right.
So when I sat down to read it, I found that it was something, there was some scope of improvement, and I didn't blatant editing in that. Yeah, unabashedly, edited it. And after I did that, I was scared that he's a senior, and what if I just present it before him and he's like, ये क्या कर दिया तुमने, मैंने लिखा था तुमने change कर दिया. And but when I talked, I said, भैया ऐसे ना आपने ये लिखा था, but the thing is that I did not like it, and since I have to do this, I did this. He said, it's fine, it's very nice, I just went through it and it's perfect, it's very nice. And he became such a nice senior, he became such a genuine, he became such a guiding light that I'm, even now when I'm struggling with something academically, or I call to him, I message him or something. There was a senior, and it was in that period when, you know, these extracurricular activities started happening, so most of my friends, most of my socializing happened in a very professional setting. We were preparing for an event or something. So I think your socializing should not depend on a particular way of doing it. It should be more of how you like it.
Right. That makes a lot of sense, and thank you for sharing all of that. Finally, I think now reflect back and think in retrospection, 3 things that you did and you really pat yourself on the back, saying that great, you did this, everyone should do this. Not everyone, because again, subjectivity is everywhere, but you're happy that you did those 3 things. And then tell me the 3 things that you now think you shouldn't have done, or 3 things that you didn't do but you really should have done. So 3 things that you did, you're happy you did, and 3 things that you would have done differently.
Cool, I'll go first because alphabetic. So first thing that I think I did that I feel like is really important to me is that I developed perspective. I think I looked out, I was very, very open to learning. So I looked out for all sorts of like information. So it's not just learning from like conventional sources like reading. I read a lot. I talk to people, all my experiences. I think all of that, I took that into account. I think that shaped me as a person, and I spent time on reflecting what all of that meant for me. And I think that has just changed me as a person, right? I was a person who used to think a very typical commerce graduate. I used to measure my success by the income stream that I'm going to have. I was like, okay, fine. So even while evaluating colleges, I was looking at the future income streams that I'm going to have. And which is why the option of choosing economics was so difficult for me. I was like, if I do an MBA, this is a sure shot better option. And that is what economics also actually teaches you. Rational individuals should choose that option, right? Now, I don't consider income as the only sort of data point for me. I look at talking like an economist. I look at multiple.
I remember we used to joke around, while we both were in school, that what do you want to do in life? We want to be rich.
Rich. We want to be rich.
Yeah. Is somehow rich. If you walk through the corridor, they have so much of sponsorship that they have actually transformed. People have to struggle. They have ACs and smart classes and all because they have so much sponsorship.
So I think now my ideas of success, my ideas of everything in life, I think they're very multidimensional, and I've grown a lot as a person. So I think first thing would be that I developed my perspective, and I don't think this is subjective. I think every person should look out to learn from everything and develop the perspective that you have. I think that's what college is for. It's not for like signaling that you are great for a job. It's not to get a degree. The main thing that you get out of college is perceptions of who you are. I think second thing was that, so like on a very practical note, I think I did internships. And I took up various projects, right? So what that helped me. So I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to do in my first year. I did an internship at the end of the year, and I realized this is not something I can do at all. I was just so frustrated doing that. And that was after that, there was a period of a lot of stress. There was a period of like, I want to find myself, what do I want to do, blah, blah, all that shit. And I did, of course, that affected me. But more than that, I looked out for various opportunities to try and find myself. And that is something that I think I would recommend everyone to do. Just take up different projects. It doesn't matter if you don't get into like the biggest brand for that particular thing. You can intern with smaller firms. You can form a group of people, take up a project, and do that. You can. There are a lot of information, lot of learning resources to be able to do different things and try out your hands at different things. If you're very certain about a particular thing, go ahead and do that. But really, like, just explore different work-wise areas.
Right.
For me, like, working in a startup was something that really expanded my horizon. I think maybe even working in a startup is something that I'd recommend not everyone to do, but everyone who likes doing that to do. And the third thing would be, I think, I had just I developed a great relationship with myself, right? So I was in North Campus, and North Campus is a beautiful area. So I went on solo walks. I went on solo dates with myself. I used to go to a cafe and have a lunch with myself. I have a favorite cafe. I'd go there like every second day. Those people had my number. They used to call me if I'd shop for a week. So, develop that relationship with yourself. When I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I did that, and I think that's just a wonderful thing that I did. And within the college space, I think I was allowed to do that, wherein I'm a very extroverted person. I like being with people, but I think the ability to find your own space is something that college allowed me to do uniquely, because I could work on projects independently, and it's just a very positive space. So I think that was something that I did. In terms of things that I feel like I wouldn't do or regrets, I don't feel like I have regrets, because everything that I did wrong, that has also contributed in shaping me today, right? The reason I did take up a project that I didn't like, and that made me realize that my set path of what I wanted to do wasn't really a path that I wanted to take. So if I didn't do that, I wouldn't know that. So I don't really have regrets, but I think my first year I was just extremely busy. If I had, like Ruchidi said, a class at 8, a class at 1, the 3 hour, 4 hour gap that I had, I'd run to a nearby college and I go for a competition. And I did that way too much. So I think because of that, I feel like I was just extremely busy, and I lost out on, talking to people and all of those things. I made up for that, but just like spend time with yourself and your mental health and your physical health and relationships and being happy. Long-term contentment and satisfaction and day-to-day contentment and satisfaction are important. So just maybe that, I think, was something that I regret doing.
Absolutely. Manya. I can't hear you.
Points that Ishika, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So all the points that Ishika just said also apply to me, but that is also because most of my one comes through her brain. So I'll just phrase it in so I'll just phrase it in my language so that the audience that I have been appealing to, the general people. Okay, guys. So first of all, I just have one regret, that in my first year I was very conscious and I was relating my self-worth to the marks that I scored in a particular exam. A lot. I did that a lot. I went to competitions, and even if I came first in that competition, I was like, the people around me are very smart. I don't know how did I win it, so do not do that. You do not deserve that. One exam does not define the entire life worth. I am happy I did that, because now I have an extremely amazing relationship with myself, and we as a one person are huge supporters of self dates. Go on date with yourself, so that yes, and this is I have been realizing this even more in quarantine, because you have so much more time for yourself, and I've realized that for a significant part of my day, I just do nothing and sit with myself. Whereas the class 12th Manya would have gone on YouTube or on Netflix, or have just picked up her phone and started scrolling on nothing. Like Instagram would be feeding me shit memes, and I would be like, okay, well, I'm down. But that did not happen, because in these 3 years, I have cultivated a relationship with myself wherein I can actually sit with me, with my thoughts, the things that I like, the things that stress me out about the world. And I have become more kind and more generous and just more aware of the things that are happening around me, because I met so many amazing people. And this is one thing that I am absolutely proud of, that I have met amazing people. I have cultivated such great relationship with them. And then I am not the
Yeah.
kind of person that has a lot of perspective as an individual, but I learn from the people around me. And the reason I do so many things is because they give me a lot of perspective, and then I'm like, okay, I'll implement it in my life. And also, one thing that I did right was I did not cling on to things. I learned to let go. I did an internship in my first year, and credit goes to Ishika. And then after that, this is something that I actively started applying. The growth opportunity for that internship stopped, but the environment that was there in that organization was a very party sort of environment. So people just hung out and we went for client meetings. There were converts and everything. So work wise, everything was there, but growth opportunity, sort of saturated. So I snapped out of it. I was like, it is okay. It is the right time to
Right,
leave
right.
it and then start something new. So you will not be able to realize your full potential if you are just stuck at one place and doing things in which the growth opportunity has stopped. Realize
So
it and
know when to stop, essentially, right? Urvashidi.
Three things that I did right. I believe it would be sort of a balance between something very objective and something very subjective. First of all, I think something I'm really proud about what I did as a person in college was to be a part of and to initiate something new. So because I realized that if you are not contributing to the place where you are and leaving it as it is, to the like living at the same in the same manner or shape that you entered it into, then I think you have not achieved much. You must contribute something. The size of contribution doesn't matter. What you contribute matters. So I realized that okay, I should do something which that my department benefits from. So during that time, I started with this concept of e-library, which I tried to, there was an e-library I later on discovered, but the thing was it wasn't so popular with kids. So I made this conscious effort that I started an e-library where I uploaded all these sample papers and books and everything, so that if students who are not able to get a hard copy and they have some sort of access to, some
Right,
digital systems, because books
right.
in colleges are very expensive. Even the photocopies sometimes are very expensive, so a lot of people rely on the e-material. So I started the e-library, then we started with the Hindu ORF policy thing. So it was something it started in my first year. It was very difficult to pull off in the second and third year because it was something new. When you're in college, you have to get sponsors and everything to, to make them believe in your
Right.
idea and your concept. So I think that was one thing, that I started something new. And when I meet people and they say that okay, you started with the e-library thing, and then I got this benefit from it, that level of satisfaction is unmatched.
Right.
You feel so proud of yourself, you feel so happy for yourself, and that acts as, some an anchor in your later life. Because when you feel that you are rotting as a person, then you realize, no, I did something good at that point of time, I'm still capable
Wow.
of doing something good. So when you're in a position where because situations will give you times when you will feel low, then when you have experiences like this, people like these who are ready to help you just because you did a small thing for them, then it amounts to a big thing. The second thing I feel is, I am very happy that I did an internship. I did internship with two organization, and I felt very nice after doing this, because that was the time I think where my self discovery happened. Because again, in school, in college, you're surrounded by people. Back in the organization I was in, I had to do a lot of things on my own. So I was in so I'm in metro heading to a place that was a newspaper. So I'm in a place heading to some place, and then I get a call in between that no, you don't have to go to that place, you have to go to some other place in the other part of the city, and then you have to fend for yourself, meet different people. I was somebody who was, I can speak on stage, but if you tell me to speak to somebody face to face and carry on a conversation, that was a difficult task for me back then, because I felt that kya baat karu main isse, but yeah, that's see the dichotomy of the personality. I was comfortable at stage, but but if I had to make 100, calling is something I really hated. Like I really hated. I didn't like to talk to somebody over call. You meet me and talk to me, I'm fine. But my job involved calling and talking to a lot of people and stuff like that. So I felt that I came out of my comfort zone, and that helped me rise, and that helped me evolve as a person, and accommodate various attributes that were not actually, that I did not have actually. And then it somehow led to a sort of personality development that I really am so thankful that I did internships. I landed on those
Right.
internships. And finally, the third thing I think was striking a balance between academics and extracurricular activities, because I met a lot of people. So like in my second year, I was confused if I should go ahead with the coaching or not. People told me you'll ruin your college life. Second year is where you should chill and you should start thinking about your career in third year. But somehow I started doing coaching, and I didn't regret it later on, because I felt that you should strike a balance between focus and vagueness. Focus is important because that'll give you a direction. Divergence and lack of focus is also important because it will make you more flexible and open to learning. Because if you're very rigid in your beliefs and ideas, then then you are then you that you might then you might just end up being very rigid, I must say. So at the same time, you have to I think that I did a fairly good job in striking a balance between focus and lack of focus, because then I was open to learn, and then also I held on to some elements of my identity and my belief system that I found was good in per se.
Right.
I can't recall too many things that I regret doing, because Ishika said that in college, even if you do something wrong, if you are open to learn, you learn something from it, and then you'll not regret it. But yeah, I think there were two things. One, again, a very nerdy thing to say, but I think I should have studied more of original texts. I'll just elaborate a bit on this. So in political science, there are a lot of original writings, and there are secondary writings which just explain what the original text was about.
Right.
And like if you read something, you'll have your own interpretation of it. And if you're reading a second hand account of that, then you start thinking from that perspective. I did read a few original texts, but I think I should have read more of original writings, where and not just interpretation. And this I'm talking about in my coursework, the course I had
Right.
within my course, not the extra study that you do on your own, but within my course, and building a lot. First year is the time when you build your foundations, when you build your academic foundations, because after all, you have opted for a course. I'm one person who believes that if I have opted for political science as a course for myself, then I should be well versed in it. So I think if I should have worked more on my foundations in the first year, and the second year, I think I should have procrastinated a little bit less, not in terms of studying, but in terms of doing things. Because I used to when you go to Delhi University, they're like iconic eating joints, they're iconic places to hang out. And I was like, I am here, university is here, we can do it anytime. Where neither of us is running anywhere. And in the last semester, me and my friends, all my friends, we had a huge bucket list. We'll go to Delhi Ridge, we'll go to this place, we'll go to that place. And then pandemic happened. So I just realized we don't have time. We take time for granted sometimes, that you have time. Okay, we have the last semester to do things, but we couldn't do a lot of things in last semester. And then again, they're in my bucket list, still lying there. So I think I should have procrastinated a little bit less in terms of, actually doing something other than not in terms of academics or extracurricular activities, but just hanging out, visiting places and stuff. So I think that's a pretty lame thing to say, I think, but again, that's a personal thing.
Thank you so much for all your inputs. Believe me, talking to you guys has been just, I would say, it has been like looking into a mirror, because I relate with a lot of what you guys are saying, and then a lot of what you're saying is also new to me. So it's been great talking to three of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you, as a closing remark, maybe a piece of advice just in one sentence. So if one piece of advice, just like maybe as a closing piece of as a closing statement, why not? Although this is not like a debate or anything, but still.
Thank you so much, Shrishti, for having us, for letting us talk to each other as well. I think it's really nice to talk
Good
to
session
all
of
of you
catching
after.
up with everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I think one piece of advice, I think I agree with what Urushidi said, like reading original text. So in economics, we don't have that. It's not there to that extent. But I think the point she was trying to make was that if you're doing something, especially your course, especially I think if you're academically interested, uh, do that properly. I feel like a lot of people detest academics and they detest the rush to get marks and all of that entire parade because they're not able to do it properly. You just mug up everything one day before and then you puke on the exam and then you forget it. Just don't do that. Just enjoy your course. Try to study it deeply, properly, and I think that applies to everything. Whatever you do, try to do it properly, and I think that will also make the process more enjoyable for you. And one more piece of advice, I think you but still, you've already said this, but try to find yourself, try to find a lot of perspectives, get a lot of information, learn a lot, and just try to develop a better perspective of who you are and what and of the world.
Absolutely. Manya.
One piece of advice would be listen to all the advice that has been given in this time, but do not follow it, guys. Just have your own journey. It is going to be beautiful and you'll be proud of your journey if it looks like the things that were discussed in this podcast or not. So do not rigidly follow everything we said. Just listen, take the things that you really, really like, implement it, but do not imitate it.
Lovely. That sounds great. Rishidi.
I think it would sound similar to what both Ishik and Manya said, but I would just say one thing. I would say one thing that don't try to evaluate or compare your experience with those of others. There's no fit narrative. Don't try to fit into a narrative that you should do particular thing in a particular way. Try, see, explore, and then choose the right thing for yourself, because I think every experience is unique. Have your own unique experience. If it's an Just try to be your own self and don't be ashamed of your experience. Don't think your experience is not that good enough. It's not a divo experience. That just don't try to fit into a narrative. Be bold and beautiful enough to to explore things and to go ahead with your own journey. Make your own journey. And Ishika took the leverage to give a second piece of advice. I would also take it. The second piece of advice, the second piece of advice would be that, although then again people would hate me for saying this, but don't neglect academics. I would say don't neglect academics. Obviously, you can choose extracurricular activities or the other things as your priority. Of course, priority is very subjective, but don't neglect academics. Just like Ishika said, don't mug everything up before one night and puke it next day in the exam. It's very why academics I feel is one thing that you should not lose hold of. I don't think say you should be good or bad, but you should don't lose hold of it, because when you're good in academics, it's one thing, it's like knowing what you're doing. So academics is one thing that makes a lot of things. And if you do academics genuinely, no, I'm one person who has been good in academics, not good in academics per se, but I've taken academics seriously, and it does help you evolve, because it comes with its own set of challenges, and it helps you to then when you overcome that, it makes you feel great. And it could be applied to any field, but I just say don't neglect academics. You can keep it on your second in your priority list, but don't keep it the last thing. Just that.
And I would also add to that the word study has a very negative connotation. And
Yeah.
what essentially Ishika and Urvashi they're trying to say is that study and hold on to your academics with the sheer love of learning, I would say.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think the world's now it's changing like what? It's too new for itself. And the only reason and the only way we can continually exist and grow and evolve is by learning.
Yeah.
And learning essentially could be a derivative of studying and focusing on academics. And the final piece of advice on which I'd like to close this episode of Podcast for School Kids is that 3 years of DU they might end, but learning and education doesn't. It goes on for life, essentially, right?
And thank you for
Thank
giving us
you.
this opportunity, because I, being a recent graduate, they're still in college. I, being a recent graduate, I was really looking forward to a platform like this, because when you meet students and I think this could be a one-stop destination for students who are confused with something, because I think that was a very comprehensive podcast, a very comprehensive discussion we had. So thank you for inviting me here.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
Srishti, for being such a great host, because she sent me the overview of the podcast yesterday and I was like, this is amazing. This is
Yeah,
like,
same.
I
That's
need
what I
3
told
on
her.
the
But again, that had a lot of things, and I still have a lot of things to ask to each one of you. And to everyone who will watch this, I'll link all of your social media handles down below, and I want everyone to probably reach out to you, and if they have any other questions. We probably talked for an hour and a half, I guess. So I mean, thank
Will I
you.
have
This
to
was
update
really
my LinkedIn profile? Please don't make me update my LinkedIn profile. If anyone, you can link my LinkedIn. Just don't judge anyone watching. Just don't judge me by my LinkedIn profile. I don't want to update it.
please take my word on it. They are all amazing and they're doing great things in life. Right.
Are we?
Chalo. I mean, yeah, you are. You don't know it, but you are doing great things. Chalo. Okay. Thank you so much.
Srishti.
Bye-bye. Bye. Good night.
Bye,
Good
Maya.
night.
Bye, Shita. Bye,
Bye,
Srishti.
Bye, bye.
Bye.